32 years I stood behind that counter, sold the bag, sold the supplements to make the bag work, and sold the upgrade when the bag alone wasn't cutting it. The feed store doesn't need a healthy flock, it needs a dependent one. Let me show you exactly how that works, and how to get out from under it.
Now, I know what that sounds like. Another, "the whole system is rigged" video. I hear you, but I'm not going to tell you to stop buying feed. I'm not that guy. What I'm going to show you is what's actually in the price of that bag, and which parts of it you can walk away from without ever putting your birds at risk. I was inside the thing I'm describing. That's not a credential, that's a confession. Here's what's in that bag: corn, soybean meal, trucking, packaging, and 3 or 4 sets of margins before it ever hits the shelf. A standard 50-pound layer bag runs somewhere between $18 and $25 in most of the country. The premium and organic bags push $35, $40, sometimes higher. That's not all inflation making that gap. That's architecture. Somebody built it. The hens my grandfather kept, 40 of them, his whole life, never saw a bought bag of feed. They ranged the yard, ate the kitchen scraps, and got what he grew on purpose in a row out back. Those birds laid steadily, stayed healthy, and kept the family in eggs without a single trip to the store. The old way worked. It still works. And there's a reason it didn't get passed down the way it should have. The old way is free, and you can't build a feed business selling something that's free. I spent 32 years selling the bag he never needed. Stay through to the end, because I'm going to show you the one mistake that sinks most people's first try at cutting that bill. And the "never buy feed again" crowd never mentions it, because they're not the ones who have to look at your birds when it goes wrong. That word is complete. You've seen it on every bag. Complete layer nutrition. A complete diet for laying hens. Right there on the front, big letters. Here's what it actually means. The bag meets the minimum legal standard for keeping a laying hen alive and producing eggs. That's the floor, not the ceiling, not the optimum. The floor. And I want to be fair here, because the bag does what it says. A quality layer feed keeps birds healthy and producing over a lifetime. I'm not telling you the bag is worthless, but that word, complete, was trained into me, and I used it. When a customer started asking questions about what else she could feed her hens, we were taught to end the conversation with it. "Ma'am, it's a complete feed. You don't want to risk throwing off the balance." I said that for years. I'm not proud of it. Once you believe the bag is complete, the only direction the store can offer you is up. Store labeled to name brand, to premium, to organic, to non-GMO, to soy-free. Every step up the shelf is a price increase, and every single bag on that shelf still says complete. That's not a coincidence. It's a product structure. Now count what's sitting next to the bag. Oyster shell, grit, scratch grains, electrolytes, probiotics, dried mealworms, layer booster, hen treats. If the bag is already complete, what are all of those for? The add-ons are where the real margin lives. The bag pulls you through the door. The shelf next to it is where the store makes its money. Nothing sinister about it. It's how every retail store on earth works. The milk is in the back because you'll walk past everything else to get there. I don't want you walking away thinking that entire shelf is a con. Some of it is real, and the one I'll name is calcium. A laying hen needs steady calcium to form eggshells, and when she doesn't get enough, she pulls it from her own bones. That is a real thing that happens. Keep a bowl of oyster shell in the run, always full, always available. Laying hens self-regulate. They take what they need when they need it. That's a purchase worth making. It's the carousel spinning around it that adds up. The third mechanism is the most effective one, because it was built on something that's partly true. Somewhere along the way, you were told not to feed your hens table scraps. My grandfather kept 40 hens. First thing every morning, he walked the kitchen scraps out to the yard. Those birds laid steadily their whole working lives. The "don't feed table scraps" rule didn't come from the chicken. It came from the culture that grew up around selling feed. Now, here's the part that is true, and it matters. Some foods will genuinely hurt your birds, and I'm going to name them. Avocado, any part. Raw or dried beans. Kidney, lima, all of them. The green foliage of nightshade plants. Potato leaves, tomato leaves, pepper leaves. The fruits are generally fine. The plant material is not. Rhubarb leaves. Anything moldy, mold on feed means mycotoxins, and that is a genuine hazard, not a maybe. Onion and garlic in large amounts. Salty, processed food. Chocolate and caffeine. That is the whole list. Everything else coming out of your kitchen. Cooked vegetable scraps, fruit, wilted garden greens, spent garden produce. That is free feed. The accurate rule was never, don't feed table scraps. It was, don't feed those specific scraps. That got flattened into a blanket, and somebody was glad it did. Add up what you spent on feed last year. A dozen hens go through roughly 25 to 35 pounds a week, depending on season and ranging access. At $18 to $25 per 50-pound bag, or $35 and up for the premium tiers, that number surprises most people when they finally write it down. I kept a feed log for 32 years. The price went one direction the whole time. The hen didn't change. Something I watched running a mill, the same base ingredient mix going into bags at different price points. Store label, house brand, premium. The gap between cheapest and most expensive was often smaller than the price gap suggested. Flip the bag over. The guaranteed analysis on the back is where the nutrition lives. The front panel is where the marketing lives. Now here's the part I need you to sit with. A laying hen needs 16 to 18% protein in the diet, consistently, not occasionally, and calcium available free choice, always. When those two fall short, here's what you see. Shells go thin, then soft, then laying drops. By the time it's showing in the egg, the deficiency has been running for weeks. I watched it happen at my counter. Flock keepers who started buying down when prices climbed, stretching the bag with scratch grain, not knowing which line they'd crossed. Some came back in with a carton of bad eggs, and I sold them a supplement. Sometimes I was selling the fix to a problem I helped create. I'm not saying the feed store wants sick chickens. I'm saying the business model doesn't require healthy ones. There's a difference. So here's the honest way out. The bag does 4 things: protein, calcium, vitamins and minerals, and convenience. The vitamin and mineral premix, you can't reliably grow that. Keep buying it. Everything else is negotiable. If your birds range, they're already working for you. Insects, grit, greens, sunlight. It's the most underused free resource most keepers already have. For scraps, the safe list still stands. A molting hen benefits enormously from scrambled egg out of a surplus. Free protein, exactly when she needs it. The plant I'd grow first is comfrey. My grandfather grew it. It's in my row right now. Comfrey leaf runs 20 to 29% protein on a dry matter basis. That means the leaf with the water removed, so the number compares fairly against the bag. Plant it once, it comes back every year. The step most people skip. Wilt the leaves 24 to 48 hours before feeding. Fresh comfrey in large amounts has oxalates. Wilted comfrey in reasonable portions has a long, clean track record. Wilt it. That's the whole method. A 10-foot row will meaningfully supplement a small flock through the growing season. For winter, when the yard goes bare, fodder bridges the gap. Barley or wheat, soak overnight, rinse twice daily, harvest at day 6 or 7. Feed at roughly 2 to 3% of body weight per bird per day. I'll say this plainly, because the internet gets it wrong every time. The weight you gain at harvest is mostly water. That tray gets heavier because it soaked up moisture, not because it multiplied. 50 pounds of grain does not become 300 pounds of feed. The real benefits are better digestibility and green matter through winter. Both are real. The math isn't.
If an old feed man saying the plain truth about that bag is worth something to you, I'd be glad to have you subscribe. One of these comes out most days. The playbook has all 7 of these methods in one place, plus a feed cost calculator. Type 3 numbers and you can see what your flock costs right now and what it could look like. Links in the description.
The method that surprises people most costs nothing and runs on feed you're already buying. Fermenting. Cover your pellets or crumbles with an inch or 2 of water in a food-grade bucket, stir once a day, let it sit 24 to 48 hours. Lactofermentation happens naturally, no starter needed. Birds absorb more nutrition per gram, so they eat less volume. On my 14 hens, I've logged roughly a 20 to 30% reduction in feed volume. Same bag, just lasts longer. One thing, it should smell yeasty and tangy, like sourdough starter. If it smells rotten or shows mold, throw it out and start fresh. Moldy feed means mycotoxins, and that's a genuine hazard. Keep the vessel clean, keep the batches fresh. No single method gets you to 40 to 75% off your feed bill, but ranging plus safe scraps plus comfrey plus fodder plus fermenting what's left, that stack is where the real number lives. I'm living it. The logs on the wall. Being cheap and being careless are two different things. The feed store benefits when flock keepers confuse those two, because the keeper who tries to go free, does it wrong, hurts her birds, and comes back to the bag scared. That was one of my best customers. She wasn't coming back because the bag was the right answer. She was coming back because nobody gave her the right tools. Now you have them. Here's what to do this week. 1. Run your numbers. Pull your last few feed receipts and add up what you spent over the last year. Most people have never done it. Write that number down. 2. If you don't have oyster shell out free choice already, get a bowl in the run today. Always full, always available. 3. Start fermenting what you're already buying. A food-grade bucket, water, and 2 days. Your bag goes further starting this week with nothing else changed. 4. Look at your scraps before they hit the trash. Most of what's going in there is on the safe list. Keep it. You don't have to do all 4 at once. Pick the fermenting. It asks the least of you and it works on feed you're already paying for. The comfrey row doesn't have to go in this weekend. Pick one, start there. But here's where I won't bend. Cut that bill as hard as you like, but keep their protein around 16 to 18% overall, and keep the calcium out free choice, always. A hen you cheap out on the wrong way stops laying, and then you haven't saved a thing. She's telling you with every thin-shelled egg that she's being shortchanged. The floor isn't negotiable. Everything above it is yours to work with. I know who watches this channel. I know what it means to be on a fixed income and watch that bag climb year after year. You didn't start keeping chickens to go broke feeding them. The hen hasn't changed. A laying hen today needs exactly what a laying hen 50 years ago needed. The feed system changed. The marketing changed. The bird didn't. Your great-grandparents kept healthy, productive flocks without a single trip to the feed store, because nobody had told them yet that they needed to. You know that now too. 32 years I stood at that counter. The answers turned out to be in a comfrey row and a fermentation bucket and a feed log on the wall. Same as they were on my grandfather's place the whole time. Your hens don't need that bag as much as the store needs them to. Remember that.
I'm Earl. I'm on the right side of the counter now. Go check your birds and look at those scraps before you throw them out. Next time, the one free supplement I watched people buy across my counter month after month for years because nobody had ever told them it was already growing right outside their door. That's the next one.